We just heard email after email after email about Libya and Benghazi that Sidney Blumenthal sent to the Secretary of State. I don't care if he sent it by Morse code, carrier pigeon, smoke signals. The fact that he happened to send it by email is irrelevant. You need to make sure the entire record is correct, Mr. Cummings.
And that's exactly what I want to do.
Well, then go ahead.
I'm about to tell you. Release the emails. Let's do the transcript. That way the world can see it.
Why don't you
want
the
survivors released?
The survivors, even their names?
Let me
you
tell
want
you
that?
something. No,
you want that released?
Let me tell you something.
And I'll tell you what, if you think you've heard about Sidney Blumenthal so far, wait till the next round.
Sure.
With that, we're adjourned.
Wow, that was a critical moment. Benghazi Committee Chair Trey Gowdy, Ranking Member Elijah Cummings getting into it a dust-up over Clinton advisor Sidney Blumenthal. Blumenthal and Clinton talked regularly about Libya and over email. But Ambassador Chris Stevens did not even have her email address, we learned, or her phone number. Mike Huckabee says there's something fundamentally wrong with that. The former Arkansas governor and Republican presidential candidate with me live today in Greenville, South Carolina. Sir, how are you? And welcome back here.
Thank you, Bill. It's exactly what I feel, is that it was just fascinating that Sidney Blumenthal had a lot more communication with Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State than her ambassador to Libya. And you have to wonder, if she had been as willing to cooperate and communicate with Chris Stevens as she was Sidney Blumenthal, and had she been as honest with the American people as she was with her own daughter and the Egyptian government, would 4 Americans be alive today?
Well, Democrats are saying it's time to turn the page. They argue Republicans did not even lay a glove on her during 11 hours of testimony. What do you say?
Well, I think that politically, Hillary survived because it was all about doing what the Clintons are great at doing. They first deny, then they deceive, then they distract, and ultimately what they do is, they just go ahead and delay, and they keep running the clock. And that's what I've seen, the pattern of the Clintons as long as I've known them, going back, as my entire adult life and working against the political machinery that I saw in Arkansas all those years ago. But this is a pattern, and they're good at it. And that's why I think Republicans underestimate what it's going to be like to face the Clintons in the election. But it was
so
great theater in many ways. I do think the Republicans asked pointed, tough questions. But quite frankly, I'm not sure that a lot of Americans are that tuned in, especially if they are somewhere out there in the middle and they're just trying to keep their jobs. Republicans care. Democrats care to protect Hillary. But how many Americans really are tuned into this? And that's disturbing because they need to be.
From your answer, I take it that you concede that she survived politically. And this will not injure her chances of getting the nomination.
Now, did she tell the truth? Did she illuminate why she had all these conversations with Sidney Blumenthal and not Chris Stevens? Did she explain why she went out there and repeatedly lied about this being over a YouTube video? And not only did we know that it wasn't, she knew it wasn't. And yet she continued to say that and trotted out subordinates to say that. The White House kept saying that. That's what never really got, I think, fundamentally answered yesterday, and I'm not sure it ever will.
One point on security, and Susan Brooks was with us last hour. She's on that committee. And she said at one point, Hillary Clinton did, that I was responsible for sending Chris Stevens to Libya. I was responsible for supporting a temporary facility in Benghazi. Then she said I was not responsible for specific security requests and decisions. I put that point to Susan Brooks last hour.
While she talks about being responsible for policy, well, the policy needs to take into consideration the security. Even though security requests had been made, we know that they did not have the right number of people on the ground. We know that it was not a safe facility, and that so many people, Chris Stevens and others, had reached out to the department, had asked the department for personnel, for more, and it never got to her level. And I think that's a problem.
What about that, Governor?
I think it is a problem. The fact is, another question she failed to answer was, why didn't we send whatever help we could have? The 173rd Airborne was in Italy. It was 2 hours away by C-130s. We never pulled the trigger on them. And they say, well, we didn't think it could get there in time. In time for what? This thing went on for 9 hours. We had plenty of time to at least try. We don't leave Americans getting shot at, being killed, and not lift a finger and say, well, we'll wait till it's all over, and then we'll go try to pick up the body. bodies. That's not how America operates. America's got to have a chief executive who believes that the single highest priority that he has is to protect the Americans who either wear uniforms or serve in a diplomatic position on the behalf of every American citizen. We fail to do that, and 4 Americans are dead for it.
Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas. We'll see what contrails this has in the months coming forward. Thank you, sir, for your time today in Greenville, South Carolina.